The governor of California says that President Trump is deploying another 2,000 National Guard here to the city of Los Angeles. That would come on top of 2,000 already deployed, 300 of whom at least are already here. Some of those are actually right there behind where I'm standing here outside the federal building here with those California National Guard. As you can see the music, you can see the crowd has been building here, maybe another 100 or 200 people here just as we've been speaking in these past few moments. End of the day, work is out. We are now getting near around 5 o'clock. Congressman Adam Kinzinger joins us now, obviously former congressman, also retired lieutenant colonel with the Air National Guard, and John Miller, our chief law enforcement analyst, both with us. Congressman, may I just start with you because of this breaking news? When, you know, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of understanding exactly what numbers Governor Newsom is putting out there, whether he's now talking about possibly 4,000 National Guard coming here to L.A. or not. That number would vastly exceed any number of protesters that we've seen. Some of the National Guard here already are standing behind where we are. As someone who served in the Air National Guard, how troubled are you by the use of the National Guard right now?
Look, this is very troubling because, look, what you're looking at, they have California National Guard shields, but you are not looking at California National Guard troops. You are looking at U.S. Army troops. They were activated by the President of the United States under Title 10. They are no longer National Guard. They're no different than the 82nd Airborne. They have no law enforcement capability legally. That's why they're stuck guarding federal buildings. Same with the Marines, and same with the 2,000 additional activated troops. That's now U.S. Army. There are 4,000 potentially U.S. Army troops. They're not National Guard. That's an important distinction unless the Insurrection Act is invoked or unless Gavin Newsom himself concedes to their activation. If I was the governor of California right now, I'd be activating the rest of my National Guard and challenge Trump to federalize that because, listen, there is no militia as guaranteed by the Second Amendment if, in fact, the president can come in and overtake the governor's authority with the militia.
John Miller, what is the latest that you are hearing from your sources about what may unfold on the ground tonight? We know that what happens tonight is obviously crucial for where this goes.
Well, I mean, what they're focused on is gathering the resources. You know, the LAPD, which is a city of 3.5 million people, it's a third larger geographically than even New York City, but it's only 8,000 cops, which is smaller than Chicago, smaller than New York, and it's about 2,000 less than the LAPD is budgeted for, but it's the number they're working with. So resources are an issue. When they get into a thing where they're having to deploy mobile field forces in the numbers of 250 or 300 officers to maintain order in the city based on what's going downtown, that means other calls aren't being answered. So what they're looking at is outreach from City Hall and their community affairs people to people within the protest groups, trying to de-escalate things that may get out of control. What they're looking at is outreach from the LAPD to their contacts within the protest groups to say, how do we keep this de-escalated? And that's Fred Booker and his team, who I have a lot of experience with in LAPD, who did that very well for years. But what they're looking for is, can we manage these protests without it going over the line? What ends up happening, and we saw this yesterday, is if the rocks and bottles start coming, if you know, the graffiti keeps going, if windows are broken, that's where you end up declaring it under 409 Penal Code, California state law, an unlawful assembly. And then it falls to the LAPD, not the National Guard and not ICE, to disperse that crowd, which, as we saw yesterday, is a difficult task. It can get messy and it can take time.
Congressman, I will just say, to give you a chance here, when I'm looking around, I saw the man with the Mexican flag and the American flag, which was a powerful moment. But there are a lot of Mexican flags here, just Mexican flags. We can even see just a few right next to me where I am. What's the importance of that?
Look, I honestly think people should be carrying the American flag around. It's one thing if you're at a protest supporting Ukraine and defending Ukraine, even if, you know, Palestinian flags. What this is a protest about is people wanting to be American or wanting to stay in the United States. I think the visuals of carrying that are terrible, honestly. And this is feeding right into Donald Trump's narrative. People can carry whatever flag they want. They have a right to do it. I just think it would be much stronger if they were carrying American flags home.
Breaking news here in Los Angeles. We are just watching their orders coming from the police saying they're going to be trying to disperse this crowd. They, about 3 minutes ago, gave them 5 minutes, so we'll see what's happening. We're seeing some people putting more masks on, worried about tear gas or something being used to deploy. We'll see what happens here in these next few moments. All eyes also on the governor of California and the president of the United States, and the long simmering feud that is now at the center of what we are seeing unfold here in Los Angeles tonight.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows.
That old showdown between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom is back, and explosive as ever.
It's my job to clean up Donald Trump's mess, because he's making it by the hour.
The president and the California governor have long been tangling over immigration.
I said, look, you got to take care of this, otherwise I'm sending in the troops. That's what we did.
But their fight is escalating after Trump federalized the National Guard and mobilized Marines after violent protests in Los Angeles.
He's taken the illegal and unconstitutional act of federalizing the National Guard, and he's putting lives at risk.
It's the latest chapter in the turbulent relationship between Trump and Newsom, who have sparred over tariffs.
No state is poised to lose more than the state of California. This is recklessness at another level.
And deadly wildfires.
We're going to take care of your water situation, and we'll force it down his throat. And we'll say, Gavin, if you don't do it, we're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time.
For Trump, the grievance often goes back to California itself.
If Jesus came down and was the vote counter, I would win California.
And the fact he lost the Democratic enclave by more than 20 points and millions of votes all 3 times he ran.
Objectively, California is the most un-Trump state in America, and I think that's demonstrable.
Yet beyond the resentment and anger, the two men have also shaken hands and found common cause.
We're obviously from different sides of the spectrum, but we have a very good relationship.
We played no politics during COVID with California.
Nothing but cowards!
Tonight, those pleasantries are a distant memory, with California in Trump's crosshairs again.
We did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down. I think Gavin, in his own way, is probably happy I got involved.
No sign of that, as Newsom sued Trump and called his actions an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism.
And as the war of words continued, Governor Newsom is saying that he believes that the White House is also considering sending 2,000 more National Guard troops. Aaron, tonight he's saying this isn't about public safety, but in his words, it's about stroking a dangerous president's ego. Aaron?
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff Zeleny. And we've just moved away from the building here as we get ready to hand it off. I'm going to be here all night. You can see behind us, they say, are some of those U.S. Marines arriving in buses right up behind us. The federal building is right over here. You can see those. We'll give you that shot, and I'll probably be up here in a few moments here. Let's hand it off now to AC 360.